Last week I did a lesson on 7th chords that come from the key of G major. I'll cut in some footage now showing you the chords that you get when you're rooted on the E string and the A string. Here we go. So we have just a bunch of shapes, and what I was doing in the intro was taking the 2, the 3, and the 6. Just to recap our lingo here, we have the 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 1 again. And that's really the basis of this lesson. We're just going to make a few things up. When you take the 2, 3, and the 6, they're all this shape, they're all minor 7. The 2 chord is built on the 2nd degree of the scale, that's the A. So this is an A minor 7 using fingers 1, 2, and 3, and thumb, index, middle to pluck. Like I mentioned in the last lesson, you don't really play like this on bass very often. So we're going to do a few things that are unconventional like that, and maybe some more conventional bass lines. You know, that's what we do. Same shape, 2 frets higher on the B. This is B minor 7. And then 12th fret, you've got the E minor 7. You can't get simpler than that, and that's just playing the root note, the one on the E string. I have a drum beat. What about adding those other notes? So 1 bar of A minor 7. I'm playing the root note and then just playing the top note. So we have a flat 3rd up the octave and a flat 7. So that would be playing those notes a little bit more like you would play a bass line. Don't forget that just a chord is when you play notes together. So if you separate them, you're suddenly arpeggiating and playing what sounds more like a bass line. One thing I want to introduce this lesson is the fact that over any chord you have a bunch of notes that you can play. And this is what I'm going to show you over, we'll start just this, because all the chords are minor, I can just teach you one shape, this one. That's a minor pentatonic shape across the whole neck, E, A, D, and G strings. Within that, we have the notes that make up the chord, a root, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7. There's that flat 10th up there. All these notes will work. So what I want you to do is memorize a few things. One is the shape of the chord and then the shape of the scale. They fit together. And they fit together on each of these chords exactly the same way. That's a lot of information. Let's talk a little bit less about notes and how we might create a decent bass line. I think simplifying is the way. I'm making something up, it's not necessarily that great, but you can hear that all the notes work. You can come up with parts this way. Let's just take a step back and I will show you on the E string how you would overlay a pentatonic over every single one of the chords. So over a G major 7, that's the 1 chord. You can't play minor pentatonic over that. So you would play major pentatonic, this shape right here. That's the major pentatonic shape when you start on an E string and you end on a G string. That's quite a decent pattern to learn. We did the 2 and the 3 just now. The 4 chord is the same as the 1 chord, C major 7. We can play the major pentatonic shape, exactly the same one as on the 1 chord. 5 chord, dominant 7th, major pentatonic over that. The 6 chord. Now this 7 chord's a bit odd. It's got a flat 5, so we'll just do this. Sounds interesting. That's obviously a bit more like you're playing an exercise. If you're playing a bass line to this, using some of those notes, again, simplify. Let's pick a chord progression here. Let's play G major 7, that's the 1 chord, going to C major 7, that's the 4 chord, E minor 7, that's the 6 chord. So 1, 4, 6. Notice that I'm sticking, for now, to the E string. I might change that up in a minute. With the drum beat for a bit of timing practice. What about more of a bass line? This is just root notes. I'm not really here. I don't have enough time to sort of go. So like, there's not enough time to add those notes that I showed you in. So let's ignore them. Here I can, in that shape. I'm going to move that E to the A string. All I did there, by the way, was just use the chord that I taught in that last lesson that is now on the A string root. So that's the 7th fret of the A string, that's where E is, and it's this shape. And once more, if you want to play it more like a bass line, just separate the notes out rather than playing them together. You really need to know your notes, by the way. G 3rd fret, E string, and C 8th fret, E string. And then the E is on the 7th fret of the A string. You can play any of those notes. That's the root, 3rd, flat 7. I like playing them as chords because I can hear the harmony and it's a nice little challenge as well for the hands. This sounds quite nice, playing the 5 to the 6 chord. So we have a D7. That's the shape on the E string, rooted on the E string. To that minor 7, the E minor 7 chord. So if I'm thinking about the tempo being roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, we can do anything. Let's do a bar. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a whole bar. Let's just do that. 1 bar of each. I'm using my thumb, my index and my middle on the E, the D and the G. And here I'm just choosing to make a rhythm by plucking them all at the same time, coming away from the body of the bass with free strokes. Adding a backbeat in, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is fine for practice. Obviously, I'm not going to be playing like this in a band situation, probably. Separate the notes. You can play root with the thumb, then the other two with the index, middle. And that's just filling using those notes that I showed you before, that minor pentatonic shape. I'm only going to do a few more of these progressions, but I hope this simple idea of a chord and some notes that fit over it will spark some ideas for you. You can literally take any chord and put it in any order, and you have a diatonic chord progression, a chord progression in one key, which actually triggers something in me that I want to try, which is maybe to go out of the key to a different key. There are so many things you could do. I mean, so many, but one that springs to mind. Let's play the G major 7 at the 10th fret of the A string, this shape. Don't worry if you're not very good at the shapes, you've got that PDF to have a look at. I'm going to use fingers 2, 1, 3, and then thumb, index, middle. I'm going to stay on the same root, but then turn that chord into a minor 7. These are pretty random chords. G major 7, G minor 7. G major 7, you've got a G major scale. I actually like Lydian, which is a mode. And then over the G minor 7, G Dorian works. I'm moving slightly into the world of chord scale relationships, which are fascinating. That is perhaps for another lesson like this one right here. Or I have a music theory course which goes into all of this stuff and explains it really clearly. How about just G major pentatonic for now, very simple. G minor pentatonic. See how you can start to create. This could be something that you take to your band. You might write a couple of chord progressions, either in a key or using fairly random chords and just wherever your mind takes you, really. I have one more thing to show you for today, which is this. We're going to go 2 5-1s into different keys. This is a very good exercise to run some of these chord shapes through the neck. We have 2 in the key of G. We're back to G. Is A minor 7, D7, G major 7. That's a 2-5-1. And I have the 2 chord on the A string, so I need this shape, the minor 7 shape. I'm going down to the 5 on the E string, so I need the dominant shape that's on E now. And then the 1 chord is the major 7 on the A string, so you have to get the correct shape for the correct string. Now just turn that a little bit like I did just before, turn that into G minor, that's our new 2. So we're going to a different key here. 1. Keep going. In terms of playing a bass line over that, this won't sound like a walking bass line, or a good one anyway, but if you took the 3 notes, so we have a root, a flat third and a 7th, and then a root, a flat 7th, and the major third up the octave. Don't even care what it is, just play them separately. I'm making up some rhythms here and there. That's quite a nice little exercise. You're moving through the different shapes. And yeah, whilst I told you it didn't sound like a very good walking bass line, there's not enough notes or chromaticism or musicality going on. You can hear that it sort of fits quite good. I think this kind of practice allows you to get quite creative whilst learning about harmony and chords and scales and modes and how they all fit together. So do make sure that you click the link below to go to the link on my site, and then you can download all the E string roots, all the A string roots, a couple of other resources there. And, you know, in return, maybe you could subscribe to the channel. Lots of people who watch this channel don't subscribe. And subscribing just allows me to do these free lessons really every week. I'll put details to courses and stuff if you want to support the channel that way as well. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.